Hey guys, this is Jordan Crook with TechCrunch, and today I have with me Dinesh Morjani of Hatch Labs. This is the CEO and founder. Thanks for coming in with us.
Thanks for having me.
So, for those of us who don't quite know yet what's up with Hatch, why don't you just kind of fill everyone in on what Hatch Labs is all about?
Sure. We're a sandbox to build new mobile tech startups.
Awesome, and that is in collaboration with IAC, right, and Extreme Tech?
Extreme Labs.
Extreme Labs.
We're a joint venture between IAC and Extreme Labs, so we have both the capital and resources to compete with an unnatural advantage in the startups we build.
Right. So we kind of see in the tech space that more agile, smaller, fresher is kind of more easily adaptable in the tech world. Do you think that being part of like a huge media company is more of an advantage or disadvantage, and how do you see yourself fitting in with that?
We absolutely see it as an advantage, but it's because of the way we structured it. The operating model, the structure, the culture are designed in a way where we can operate independently and still use all the assets and capabilities of IAC in terms of business development relationships, strategic partnerships, distribution, and access to scale, including customers when and if it makes sense.
Right. Okay. So who are some of your? I hear that there's quite a bit of success all around for the Hatch Labs companies, but who would you say are some of your more shining players?
Well, we've been very fortunate. We've hired some extremely talented people, and it's resulted in the right ideas, the right talent, and the obsession that comes almost bordering on unhealthy that allows us to create the products and then test them in public beta before we refine them and take them out for additional capital. And that's resulted in both Blue Trumpet, which is the first venture we formed, as well as Blush, which is a product made by a business called ShopTouch that we built that have seen unprecedented success since they've actually launched. We also have another business called Cash Island that's live right now that's doing extraordinarily well, but it's very early and we're keeping it on the DL.
Keeping it on the DL. Any numbers to share on Blue Trumpet?
Sure. Blue Trumpet, for example, apples to apples, when you look at an impression and you click through, you typically see in mobile display ads, 1 to 2%. Blue Trumpet's doing north of 15%, and it's a function of the fact that the user experience is dramatically better. And that's driven largely by the fact that users are conditioned to ignore display advertising. If you open your phone, whether it's an iPhone or an Android device, and you actually look at the display, you'll often overlook the display ad. What we found is incremental ways of coming up with new forms of inventory so that publishers can still make money from their CPM and CPC, but have new forms of advertising where there's a persistent watermark somewhere within the app, or there's a drawer, or there's other forms of integrated advertising that result in users wanting to investigate what that is, and they explore and they discover. But the true measure of success is not just the 15% click-through rate, it's the fact that our repeat usage on all of these apps turns out to be 2.5 times for this feature relative to any benchmark out there for when mobile users actually go and use applications or use features within apps.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. So, there are a lot of incubators, sandboxes, whatever we want to call them out there. Who would you say is kind of your biggest competition, and what makes you different from them?
I don't really think about it in the form of competition. If anything, it's co-opetition, because engineers are floating from young startups to big established companies to incubators. And so really the battle is about talent, because building a startup is about people, time, and money. And money is fixed. Fortunately, we're in a good position where we're very well financed. Time is a matter of how much you can get your entrepreneurs to give you and how much you can give your engineers to give you instead of what you take from them. And the quality of the people is the creative cocktail that leads to outcomes that you didn't expect. And so we really compete for talent, but we're not really competing with other incubators.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. So you've been around for 15 months. It's pretty solid, enough time to learn a lot, obviously. What have been some of your biggest challenges?
Biggest challenges early on were recruiting the quality of people we wanted. Today, we get over 100 resumes for every person we might even consider bringing into the lab. We have a 100% retention rate. We haven't lost a person yet, thankfully.
Awesome.
And in the tech space, I think that's some early lead indicator bragging rights. But it's really the ability to take an idea and not try to create the world in 4 months, but actually build a minimally viable product plus. And I use the plus to define the user delight or the customer delight that comes from building something. It's not just about a minimally viable product and getting it out to the market and then testing it and iterating it in with agile development. Having beautiful design, a human interface that makes you want to engage with an application or service as part of a broader startup opportunity is very different if you took 10 startups and all had to build minimally viable products. The one that had that plus or source of delight might be the one that's successful, and the other 9 startups that had a hypothesis that was identical might have failed. So we really focus on the product experience that delivers that delight.
Cool. All right, so what does the future look like for Hatch Labs? What can we expect?
I think you can expect, just like we built 6 startups in 2011, at least another 6 in 2012, combined with additional capital moving into the companies where we retain a disciplined approach to capital deployment for startups, but the quality of the entrepreneurs will continue to create, we continue to attract will increase, largely because Hatch Labs has built gravity around it. So I think what we will see in the coming months will be startups that spin out with additional capital and new startups that are breaking ground in mobility.
Wow. Okay, well, I'm looking forward to that.
Me too.
You got to keep us in the loop, and thank you for coming in. We really appreciate your time, Dinesh. That's it for Hatch Labs and Dinesh Moorjani.